everybody, and welcome back to Godspeed TV. I'm your host, Riley Roseby, joined today by Sam Gatlin. Now, internally here at Stock Market Media, Sam is recognized as the chief cowboy of the crew. But Sam, you wear a number of hats for the folks here at Stock Market Media. Do you want to share a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, Riley. Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of Godspeed and what you're doing with this product. At the bleeding edge of technology, and I think we have a good show ahead for our viewers. But at Stock Market Media, I am working on the Beat Report with Steve Straza, and that's a really exciting project. I brought a few charts today to share kind of what I'm doing over there. But at All Star Charts, I cover the commodity complex, including precious metals, the soft commodities, the base and industrial metals, just about everything you can think of with commodities. I am involved there, and I'm
It's
also
very close
heavily
to home, right? Because, I mean, you're coming in from
totally.
Kansas, so
Yes,
big
yes. The
commodities guy.
livestock and the grain markets
That's
really
right.
they'll always have a place in my heart. And I also I follow the what we call the freshly squeezed universe really closely, and that's just looking at stocks with high short interest. So yeah, I like the high beta names, and that's a lot of what you're covering here.
It
So
is. It is. And you're over in Greece right now. You've been kind of traveling the world for the last few months. We're going to talk about Dubai because it's all eyes on Dubai for these EV tolls. They have the Dubai Air Show going on right now.
I'm not just in Greece, Riley. I am hopping all over Europe and the Middle East. I actually went to Dubai not long ago for the CMT conference, and I met the legendary Ralph Acampora, the godfather of technical analysis. And I saw a lot of really interesting things in Dubai, so I'm excited to talk about that with you.
Did you see any flying cars?
I did not see any flying
Okay.
cars. No.
Not yet. Not yet. Well,
Not,
this
I feel like the next time I go there, I will see some flying cars.
I'm sure you will because this week the Dubai has their air show, right? So Boeing, Lockheed Martin, all the big players in the aviation industry are coming to Dubai to showcase the latest and greatest. There will be tens of billions of dollars in orders, and we all know the folks over in Dubai and in the Middle East have deep pockets. But most importantly, we're seeing these EV tolls take flight. Now, Joby was the first one to have a piloted flight. Archer also did a demonstration flight kind of in their own little area. It wasn't necessarily a part of the air show, but it's all eyes on Dubai. And the big reason here, Sam, is they are not subjected to the FAA's certification standards, right? So if the folks in the UAE feel that these vehicles are safe and ready to carry passengers, paying passengers for commercial flights, you got to suspect they're going to just, send out a memo and say, let's go. It's really
So who do
fascinating.
they have to make happy, Riley? Like if it's not the FAA, is it just the
Well, they have like their own ministry of
they do?
air traffic control. Yeah. But I'm not very well versed in how the entire structure of the UAE government works. Like who has the
It's
pull,
probably
who
better than the
has the
FAA though.
leverage.
Like it's hard to be worse than the FAA. Like during the government
100%.
shutdown, like how many flights did they cancel? It was like,
Of course. Hey, Gene, did we lose Sam? All right,
yo,
Sam. There we go. I got you back. But here's
sorry
the
about that, guys.
no, you're good. You're good. So these are just the overviews for the Dubai Air Show. Joby completed the UAE's first piloted point-to-point air taxi flight, confirms the development of three new vertiports, and they're conducting daily flight demonstrations at this Dubai Air Show. So I'm already seeing it a lot on the social streams. I'm sure it will continue to proliferate across the platforms. First and foremost, probably on Twitter, on X. We'll see it on Reddit, and then I don't know, maybe in a week or two, we'll see it trickle over into Instagram, LinkedIn, and mainstream media. But so far they're making some headlines.
Hey
And
Riley, we have a great question here in the chat
oh,
coming from Alex,
dude, let's go.
asking why you didn't go boots on the ground in Dubai during the air show. Alex, that is such a great question.
That is
Riley,
a
there
great
is
question.
no excuse for you not going to Dubai for this.
I would agree. I would agree. I got to ask the powers that be for maybe some more leeway on that front, but I would love to be there. If they get these passenger flights going, I'll max out a credit card. I've known to do that once or twice before in my life. Take a look at this flying car composite, though, Sam. So this is Joby and Archer, right? And these names SPAC'd, IPO'd, whatever you want to call it, back in 21. We are right back at that line in the sand. Now, Joby and Archer aren't both at this $10 level. This is an equally weighted composite between the two, but for the health of this industry, we need to see this line above that $10 mark. You look at charts all day long. Do you have any insights on this technically? I mean, I know we're looking at a line chart, so it's not you're not getting those beautiful candlesticks and whatnot, but what's your technical take here?
Yeah, this looks like a classic accumulation pattern to me, Riley. Running into those former highs from 2021, this is a really logical level for the sellers to step in and to see some messy price action. But, just longer term, I see a series of higher highs and higher lows, and that's what makes an uptrend. And just looking at this line chart, like it looks like the last bottom in April was around $5. So like yeah, the flying car composite could get cut in half from here and like still
100%.
technically be in an uptrend. Like I'm not saying that's going to happen, but like that's, we're talking about really volatile stocks and I think eventually it gets the job done and goes to new all-time highs and no pun intended here, but the sky really is the limit with a chart like this that's gone from $2 to 20 in in a few years. Like that's really impressive.
Well, and I'm really watching to see, okay, this $10 mark at the end of last year, and then a little blip kind of what in May, June, it looks like. That $10 mark was resistance, right? We blasted through that. Now we're testing that level again. Let's see if it acts as support. That's kind of how I'm thinking through this because we want to see those buyers step up, especially now that we're seeing movement in the real world, right? We're seeing these things take off at these air shows. We're seeing orders trickle in. We're seeing countries opt in to develop vertiports. So the infrastructure, the groundwork is getting laid. We got to talk about NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA reported earnings after the close. They continue to shock and awe us with their numbers. Wall Street is very well aware of how great NVIDIA's earnings were. And here's a few highlights. Record revenue up 22% from the previous quarter and up 62% year over year. Gross margins around 73.5%, which is just absolutely mind blowing. And then how about this quote from Jensen? Blackwell sales are off the charts and cloud GPUs are sold out. I don't think sold out is ever a bad thing when you're in business.
No, not at all. Nvidia is up 6% after hours on this report. Um, what do you think, Riley? Will it stick tomorrow? That's what I'm really interested in.
That's
These after hours moves can have a lot of noise and not a lot of signal. So I'm really more interested in how it closes tomorrow. But this was another blockbuster report from the greatest company in the world, and all of my technical signals continues to suggest that this company is just going to continue to grow like a weed, and it's probably going to be the first stock to hit $10 trillion in market cap, which, that sounds a little bit
that's a big
obnoxious
number. That's
saying
a
that,
big
but
number
like,
with a lot of zeros and a lot of commas.
yeah, man. But if you were here 2 years ago saying Nvidia was going to be trading at a $5 trillion market cap, you would have gotten laughed out of the room. Like
Of course.
this is happening really fast, and
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head, right? The after hours price action is great. We love to see that first move where that direction goes, but we really need to see how this thing closes tomorrow. But I want you to, can you walk us through? You put together this great NVIDIA earnings snapshot. Can you kind of walk us through what you got going on here? What's this reaction score? Maybe give us a little color on this.
yeah, Riley. So every week for the Beat Report, we publish this thing called the Weekly Beat, where we cover all of the earnings reports from the prior week, and then we highlight a few earnings reports that we're looking forward to in the coming week. And Nvidia was how could it not be on our list? We highlighted the Nvidia earnings report, and this is just a nice, easy to look at snapshot of Nvidia's fundamentals and you have the technicals, because that's what we're really focused on is fusion analysis. At our core, we're technical analysts, but we also know that fundamentals have a lot of signal, and it would be irresponsible to completely ignore them. So I think from the fundamental standpoint, looking at the middle, the year-over-year growth on this table is probably the most interesting thing. You can see in 2023 when the growth just absolutely exploded there. But the market knew this was coming. If you transition over to the right side, the Nvidia had one of its best earnings reaction, if not the best ever, back in May of 2023. Everybody remembers that earnings report. It just blew everybody's mind. It was a huge gap and go kind of move, and that's what really set off this uptrend that we're still on. It's taken Nvidia from a large cap stock to the largest stock in the entire universe. So seeing big earnings reactions like that's that's really a powerful signal. So you can see what happened after that May 2023 earnings report. The growth has been astronomical. And in late 2023, you had 400% earnings growth. You had almost 600% earnings growth, and that's just continued. Granted, it's slowed down, but man, they're doing
So,
humongous
so
revenue
Sam,
numbers, and they're growing 50% year over year. I mean, come on,
Sam,
like
I want
it's
to ask
really
you
hard to
though.
value a stock like this.
It's very difficult, right? I mean, this is a casino of sorts, if we're going to be honest. Let's say you're sitting here, you don't have any Nvidia exposure, right? You see these earnings reports today. What's your plan of action for tomorrow? Are you doing anything? Are you going to wait, sit on your hands, let the name close? I mean, we're seeing these numbers good, or are you looking at this kind of just in the general macro context of like, okay, Nvidia is kind of the bellwether stock of this bubble, if we want to call it a bubble. Things are good for Nvidia. Things are probably good for the market. How are you looking at this?
Yeah, man, I love trading Nvidia against that shelf of former highs from earlier this year. 184 is the level that really stands out to me, and Nvidia has corrected in the past few weeks, but it's held that 184 level. So I really like the risk versus reward there. Now we're 6% off of that now, trading near 200. So now you have 15 points of downside risk. So the risk reward is not as favorable down here, but
You know what I love though? I mean, we're getting a little nitty gritty here with like the after hours movement, but I love
yeah.
the pop that we had right when the earnings came out, right? It flashed up to what, 195.82. We're drifting higher. I don't know what Jensen's saying in the conference call or anything, but that to me is a really, really positive sign, right? We didn't just have this pop and then kind of this fade. Like we continue to run. But like you
And that's a
said,
big thing you hit on there, Riley, is that we got the initial reaction to the headline numbers, but I think the most important thing about this earnings report is what Jensen says in the
mhm.
call, because we know this company is growing. It's just a
Well, and
matter of
is he wearing a
when
leather
they hint
jacket?
at.
Most importantly, is he wearing a leather jacket? That's what we
Of
really need
course,
to
I
know.
mean that's all he wears, isn't it? Have you ever seen him without that?
Oh man, he made that thing famous. But I want us to
Yeah,
move on
what a
to
legend.
I want to move on to Ondas, right? I'm wondering, is this a drone infrastructure winner? So they reported earnings on the 13th, absolutely murdered these earnings. I don't know if I've ever seen a company report such a strong earnings report. With your work, you might have a little bit better insight here, but recorded quarterly revenue of 10.1 million in Q3, more than a six-fold increase year over year. That's 600%, 60% year over quarter growth, and they're expecting their revenue for 2026 to be 110 million. Now, the stock had kind of some gnarly moves, right? We had a nice gap up, a little bit of follow through on day two, slammed down on day three, only for it to reverse again. What would that have been yesterday? And we're kind of just sitting up here, what, around 750, $8. And, this is just a really fascinating story when you weave in that executive order that got put out in June, unleashing American drone dominance. Now, these guys are helping power this whole drone infrastructure, right? They're providing drone in a box type services to infrastructure industries across America. It's energy, public service, government. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on. Seems like a lot of applications here based on these numbers. I mean, what are
Riley,
you
tell me
making of
about
this?
this presidential executive order. I don't know anything about this.
Well, back in June, I mean, the United States has been lagging in drone technology for quite some time, right? That we were running up against DJI up in over in China. Beautiful commercial consumer drone products. But we have really kind of squashed the bug on any sort of drone technology here in the United States. The FAA isn't the most or wasn't the most welcoming for a lot of drones. And so we just didn't have, we had a lot of stagnation there. And this is a huge, huge area. And I think really kind of the big thing that kickstarted this was the Russia and Ukraine war, right? We started seeing drones kind of integrated into the warfare practice. And when you look at the economics behind it, if you have a even $1,000 drone that's able to take down a 10 million, $20 million helicopter, that's going to be really hard to fight and really hard to win. Even if their success rate is low on taking down that helicopter, I mean, it's just the risk reward there is off.
So isn't Anduril doing some really interesting things from like the military industrial complex side of things? So is this company like the Anduril of commercial consumer drones, if you will?
I wouldn't say consumer, but more, I mean, it's an infrastructure layer, right? So they're going to be providing aerial services
So
to
they're also working with
railroads,
the militaries.
governments. Yeah, of course. Of
Gotcha.
course. I mean, the government's the best customer to
So
have,
this
right?
isn't something that just the average Joe is going to have a drone and it's going to work for him, or is
No, 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 no. Like you need additional data that you can't capture from humans. You need aerial data, you need remote viewing data, and Ondas is firing up that support. I want you to talk to me though about these earnings because I mean, I saw that six-fold increase. That got my attention. I saw the stock's reaction. That got my attention. But can you shed any other light? I know you got a couple,
yeah, I think
couple.
slide number 17
Okay.
really tells the story perfectly. This company hasn't been around for very long, about 5 years of earnings reaction data. But you can see almost every single time this company reports earnings, the stock gets slammed and the market hates what they're doing. But you can see the last two times this company has reported, they've had their two best earnings reactions ever. So I don't know what has happened over the last 2 quarters, but I know for a fact that the market likes what they're doing, and and the stock is trending higher because of it. So if you go back to that Nvidia table, back I was just talking about that May 2023 earnings reaction that set off this entire uptrend for Nvidia. That's what I see right now for ONDS. It's the
Yeah.
exact same scenario. I'm not saying it's going to be a $5 trillion stock,
No, no,
but
no. I mean, we
this
should
is
probably
how
caveat
new
this is like
uptrends
a
start.
$2 billion market cap right now, so it's
Yeah,
nowhere near that.
yeah.
Picks and
But this is
shovels of
how good
AI.
things start, Riley, I
This is
guess is
how good
my,
things start.
yeah.
No, that's a great point. This is how good things start. They have very strong. I mean, dude, I think they got like 480 billion or $80 million in the bank, so they're well positioned to kind of see through this aerial economy. I think the infrastructure layer is first and foremost as we get more things flying and moving in the air, and these guys seem to be well positioned.
So are they
Um,
trying to do stuff like with the Walmarts and the Amazons? Because I
no, no,
know
no,
that
no.
seems
So
like a big opportunity as
that's
well.
drone delivery. That's going to be direct for consumer stuff. But these guys are working more with like uh, they're going to work with transportation companies, railroads over in India, and understanding the data and using AI to make these processes more efficient for their business, find different loop or find different gaps, right, to where they can increase efficiency, increase productivity. It's funny. I mean, productivity and efficiency, those were the buzzwords of the dot-com bubble, and they're coming back just because of AI is doing what they say. But I want us to move on to autonomy, right? Because in my mind, we can't get to the aerial economy without figuring out autonomy, and it starts with the roads. And we had some interesting news from both Waymo and Tesla this week. Last week, Waymo announced that their vehicles in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix are going to be driving on highways. And then just this week, they announced 5 new cities are coming online. So today, they actually started in Miami. And over the coming weeks, they'll launch in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Orlando. So they're certainly increasing their footprint. But then Tesla, and I got to give these guys a big shout out as a gentleman who lives in Sedona, Arizona. Tesla gets a permit for its ride hailing service in Arizona. Now, there aren't any dates or exact clarity as to when this program is going to launch, the region it's going to launch in. But dude, I'll tell you what, the second that thing goes live in Arizona, I'm driving down to Phoenix if that's where it's going to be. Like, I have to go try this thing out.
Hey, I want them to come to Kansas next.
Dude, I
Just
mean,
about this
eventually.
though, Riley, like, are these companies ready to scale? Like, are they ready to go nationwide? Is it just a matter of the government permitting them to do that, or is there something else holding them back?
Well, so that's a really interesting question, right? I think Waymo is in a very difficult position when you're talking about scale, right? Their vehicles cost upwards of $100,000. They're using LiDAR technology. They have a very in-depth process for how they map the region in which they're going to be operating in. Tesla has a little bit different approach, right? They're just going based off of vision. However, the one thing that people don't maybe think about when they're thinking about this robotaxi platform is Tesla has all the data. They have all the data from every single one of their vehicles driving for the last, I don't know how many, what, 15 years plus. So they're going to pump their data into Elon's XAI and figure out this autonomy is kind of their approach to it. Who's going to win, I think, is up for debate. If I had to guess, I mean, Tesla seems like the player that's going to scale because they can send a software update and then any vehicle can become a robo taxi. It's like the Airbnb model Elon's talked about. They're going to have robots building their cars and then the cars are going to drive themselves off the lot. So it's really hard to bet against Tesla. And I cut this chart. I mean, we talked about this range from what, 470 to 415, 410. That ultimately broke with the market weakness over the last week. But we've seen a little bit of buyers sneak in here at 380, 390, around 400 bucks. It's tough to want to have conviction in a chart like this. That said, if we have a fast move above 480, I think you got to have the highest level of conviction as possible. I don't know if you have a different technical take here, but that's just how I see it.
You know, one thing I've learned about fundamentals over the years, Riley, is that, some stocks are just impossible to value. You see these angry bears out there that say,
Elon's a
Tesla's trading for
Nazi.
Tesla's trading for 500 PE. That's an exaggeration, but it's not about any fundamental metric. You're simply betting on the management team. You're betting on Elon Musk doing what Elon Musk does, and that's just he makes shit happen. Riley, he's the greatest executive of all time. I mean,
He's a little
he
hyperbolic. He exaggerates a little bit, but I would agree with you. He makes shit happen. I mean, he's launching rockets. He's digging tunnels. He's doing all the
and
things.
to go back to the eVTOL conversation, Riley, on the latest Joe Rogan with Elon Musk's show, he talked about maybe having a flying car in the future. And, it's just really hard for me to bet against Tesla. So, what do you think? Are they just going to completely dominate Archer and Joby? Like, I think he said he's going to announce this in Q1 of next year, if I'm not mistaken. But that
Mhm.
sounds really exciting to me. And like you said, they have all the data. They have everything. They have the infrastructure. They know how to manufacture these things and mass. Like,
I
I
wonder
think
what
they're
Henry
really
Ford would
good.
have to say, right? I mean, the pioneer of the assembly line. What do you think that man would have to say looking at the vertical integration of Tesla? He couldn't comprehend what's going on in my
I
mind.
think he would have sold Ford and went all in on Tesla.
I freaking love that. I freaking love that. Okay, now I want us to look at one more chart here. This is the autonomous and electric vehicles ETF from Global X, ticker DRIV. Now, you could see that we had a nice little peak there back in what would that have been? Q4 21, maybe early 22, and we tested those levels. We're back at the scene of the crime. I'm not surprised to see a little bit of a pullback here at the retest. I generally don't buy the first retest on a big base like this. I usually, sometimes good things happen in threes. You get the first move, you get the second move, which is kind of a head fake, and then the third move when everybody's not watching. That's usually when it goes. I love to see that this thing is above 26.50, 27 though. But I do notice you put together kind of a composite or a bubble chart here of the drive stocks. Do you want to walk us through this at all?
Yeah, Riley. That's a great ETF. Shout out to Global X. They make some of the
Shout
best
out
ETFs.
Global X.
Big fan. But yeah, so bubble charts are one of my favorite market cheat codes. It's a really easy way to visualize what's going on with a group of stocks. So you can do that with all of the stocks inside of this ETF. And on the y-axis, you have the percent from 52-week low. And then on the x-axis, you have the percent from 52-week highs. So the farther you are to the upper right, that's good, and the farther you are to the lower left, that's bad. So Lucid
We
is
won't talk about
looks like
Lucid.
they're doing everything wrong. Lucid sucks, but if you look at something like AMPX, Bloom, BE, NBIS, QuantumScape,
You know what's
those stand
fascinating?
out for sure.
It's fascinating that Rivian isn't included in this.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the
That's
deal is there.
That's a little intriguing. I will say though, I have a buddy here in town. He owns both a Cybertruck and a Rivian truck. Dude, 10 out of 10. He's taking the Cybertruck. I don't know what kind of metric that means as far as the financial landscape, but I like looking at that kind of consumer sentiment. So you're saying in like the most ideal situation, we want the stocks that are going to be up in this top right corner by the All-Star Charts logo.
Totally, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Google, like, if you look at the far right side of this, you have Google, you have Albemarle, you have GM, Rio, Ford, Nvidia,
ALB,
Microsoft.
Albemarle, these guys make metal,
Uh,
right?
yeah, so
Okay.
they're doing like all the metals for the batteries. And that's the same story for Rio Tinto as well. Like that's the largest base and industrial metal mining stock in the entire world.
See,
Um,
dude, this is why I love these thematic ETFs, right? Because you're getting kind of that whole industry. You're just kind of like taking a big shovel to this industry and you're trying to capture as much alpha as you can while eliminating some of that single stock risk, right? Because some of these stocks are going to be volatile. It's important to mitigate some of that volatility out of your portfolio. I love this. I got to give before we wrap up, I got to give a huge shout out to Grant because the Grant's daily number turns one. He's been doing it for a full year, and this week he put out a special report looking at 20-day breath thrusts in the 4-year presidential cycle, and he dropped this gem of a chart. And I don't know, it's not super optimistic for 2026, which I'm maybe not looking forward to, but I know you caught Grant's report. I think this is fantastic. I know people can catch it in the description down below if you want to take a look. Do you have any closing comments on Grant's report? I know he spent a ton of time doing it. I just want to give him some love because he's the man. He's the man from
Dude,
down under.
yeah. Yeah, he really is one of the best in the business at quantitative analysis and breadth analysis. And, he's learned from all the greats. He's standing on the shoulders of giants. He's combined everything good and holy about breadth and quantitative analysis and turned it into a beautiful report here that, you know, to say the least, 2026 is probably not going to look like 2025, but for now, the breadth and seasonality work that he's done suggests that this bull market still has legs. But Riley, you and I are young men. We have plenty of time to invest. We're talking about the future of technology here. So, I'm not really too concerned about a few nasty quarters in 2026,
Here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing, Sam. I think to your point, we should take advantage. If 2026 is a weak year, I mean, that's when we got to keep our heads down and find those companies that have the potential opportunity of changing the world. Maybe they go up 100x, maybe they don't, maybe they go to zero, but you see relative strength in weak tapes, right? The cream always rises to the top.
Totally. And that's a beautiful thing about bear markets is you can get amazing companies at discounted values, and you really can make a fortune whenever the tide turns. And like we've seen in past years, we've seen some pretty sweet uptrends. I don't know, Palantir's up 3,000% when you could have bought the dip
Sam,
back
I
in
got a personal
2022. Like,
Sam,
yeah.
before I let you go, I got a personal story about Palantir because I want to say this was like 21 or 22. And I remember texting my mom like, "Hey, maybe go into Robinhood and buy Palantir every single week. Just like a little bit, like $10 or something. We need to have a chat." Anywho,
Dude,
anywho, definitely
that's funny, Riley.
thank you, Sam, for being with us this week. It was a pleasure. I know it's probably super late in Athens, but I appreciate you taking the time. It's always great to see your lovely face. I can't wait to hang with you in Park City. I don't know if you plan
That's
on
going
going
to be a
skiing.
blast, Riley. I'm really looking forward to it.
It should be a good time. It should be a good time. We're gonna have some fireside chats, all the fun stuff. But thank you all for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. If you have any friends that like technology, maybe go ahead and share them some of our content over here at Godspeed. Share them a newsletter or two. Drop them a link. I don't know. Send them a link to this video. Do what you do best. Just connect with people. But we'll be back next week. Maybe not. I might take it off for Thanksgiving. I don't know what your thoughts are, Sam. But I'll see you guys in a
Thanksgiving's
bit.
not a thing here in Greece, so I'll be at my desk.
All right. Well, maybe I'll give you a shout. Gene, go ahead and take us out. It's been a pleasure.